Hello there, and it's good to have you back on another enlightening and interactive episode of African Student Voice on AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa. My name is Ajaman Otredako. This year is all about youth development, and we've been talking about a whole lot of things that connote youth development, and today's own is no different from it. Today we're looking at how electoral violence affects youth development, and so we're looking basically to securing the future of the youth against electoral violence. It has been something that we've had in this country for a very long time. Many countries, north, south, east, and west of Africa, and it's about time we stop it because the youth need to develop, and we can't be used as machines to destroy our own continent. So today, I have great guests in the house to speak to the matter so you can appreciate why you should secure yourself from electoral violence. Don't go and go for a quick pause. When we come back, we'll begin a discussion. Welcome back to African Student Voice on AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa. My name is Ajaman Otredako, and today we're discussing securing Africa's youth against electoral violence. And with me in the studio, I have with me Ms. Hamida Tuna Dansua Ashley.
Yes.
And she is from the Methodist University College of Ghana. And I have with me Comrade.
Yes.
He's Mr. Ansuman Abojan, the Press Secretary Affairs Officer of the All African Student Union. Nice to be welcome to African Student Voices.
Thank you.
I'm glad to have you here. And the matter on the table is very important. It's all about youth development. Yesterday we had the International Youth Day, and it was a good day. The theme was a very good one. I think now we are seeing the essence of having the youth engaged in political affairs, and not any kind of engagement, an objective kind of engagement that will bring benefit to ourselves and secure our future. So today's discussion is about securing our youth from electoral violence, because it is one thing that destroys us. We destroy our own future. But let me start with a very profound issue. What do you think is the role of every African youth in politics, from your perspective?
From my perspective, I think the role of every youth in politics is not to be idle or not to be observant. You should, if you see any problem, you should make sure you get it out there for the right authorities to know.
Okay.
You shouldn't just be idle, doing nothing. You just see something, say it within your comfort zones. You just sit there, you do nothing about it, you discuss with your friends, but then it stays in the room that you are. But whatever means you have, you should get it out there for people to know that this is a problem and it should be done.
So in your view, you think that we cannot be implementers because we don't have the resources to implement solutions,
yes,
but we can advocate and also help in the solution building case right now.
Yes.
And Comrade, what is your perspective, the role of young people in politics? What kind of role should we be playing here?
Well, thank you so much. For me, as I said earlier, the role of young people in politics should not be spectators. There should be active participants
to
the political class, because if you look at Africa, we tend to have the most youthful population in the world. So in a continent of where you have the most youthful population in the world, if they are left behind and then see as spectators in the political class, it means whatever actions or policy that the political class draw affects them indirectly or directly. So the role of young people in politics, should be active participants, not spectators. And then, as I said, the dynamics is changing in Africa. We have seen a lot of young people, actively involved in politics. We have a lot of young people occupying parliamentary seats. We have seen a lot of young people being appointed as ministers in Africa. So that dynamics is changing. So young people, of course, have realized, look, for far too long we have been left behind, and we cannot continue to sit, to be used as political spectators for the few, the political class, at the end of the day, and then that's it. Not knowing that whatever policy or decisions that the political class implement affects the young people. So young people should always be on the center stage of where those policies are designed, so that they can provide their input, and you can only do that if you take active part in the political, process of our various countries in Africa.
So from your point of view, we should be active participants.
Yes.
In terms of policy, analysis, suggestions and all that.
Yes.
Let me also add this, that we have young people come together and say that we want to be political activists. In a sense that we want to be watchdogs. We want to always keep an eye on the political trend and see how things are going, policies that are being developed, and how it will affect us, and we can comment on it. Anita, do you think there's an important or the significance of these political activist groups? Has it got any benefit on the young people when we form these groups?
Yes, it has. In the sense that we are saying that they shouldn't be spectators, but then they should be active participants. So how can you be active in this case? So if you are part of these activist groups are formed through this, you can be participating in the sense that if you you are part of the group and you see any problem, you can you can do something about it by maybe protesting or peacefully.
Yeah, the word protest, when I hear the word protest, I begin to question the credibility, because there are so many protests.
That are not peaceful, so
I don't know what kind of protest again.
But I want to make it peacefully.
Peaceful protest.
Peaceful protest.
To those involved.
To those involved, yes. So for that, in that way, if you belong to these activist groups, you are able to get your views out there. It could be usually when such things are formed and they are going for demonstration of stuff, they have the media there to cover everything that is going on. So at least the information or their worries will be put out there, and it's being displayed on media right now. Everybody out there would know that, okay, this is what is going on. So the right authorities will get the information they need, that this is what the youth needs, and in that case something can be done about it.
Sure.
But then my problem is, I mentioned the peaceful earlier, because the problem is how peaceful protesting turns violent.
Sure.
In the sense that you are doing something peacefully in books and in real life, everything, there's chaos everywhere. So even though this thing is very important, the activist is important to do, but then we have to be careful it doesn't get out of hand. Because when lives are lost and properties are destroyed, with the lives we can't get them back, but at least with the properties we can recover. But then how long? We're going to use extra resources, extra money, extra time, and that could have been done, could have been used to do something much more better and beneficial to you, the youth. So that's what I think.
Comrade, let's look at political activist groups. If we say that we are young people in Africa and our role is to play active and we play an active role in politics of policy, suggestion, contribution, and all that, then political activist groups perhaps becomes a complement. How then can we see the benefit or essence in forming political activist groups?
Well, the formation of political active groups of recent have really, changed the political, landscape of very African countries. We've seen Not Young to Run. When they launch that campaign, it has forced a lot of countries, to amend their electoral requirement process to cater for the young people. So for me, the formation has been very, very much helpful, because, for instance, in my country, the Gambia, the Not Too Young movement, were able to, bring in a lot of policies that they force, the parliamentarians to amend the process of that requires the young people to enter into politics. We've seen in Nigeria the same thing, a young guy at the age of probably 32 or whatever entering into politics. Initially, those things are taboos. They will tell you that elections are for the elderly people, in fact, about 40 years and 50 years. So even in Ghana, I think they are still advocating for the age requirement for president to even come down from 40 to 30 to allow the young people to enter into the political leadership space of their country. So it depends on the context in which they are formed, but generally speaking, the political, activist formation groups, or whatever it is, have really, shaped the political dimensions of the African continent. By no means we have a lot of young people in parliament today because of the advocacy. Yes. We have a lot of people occupying cabinet positions because young people, I remember in the 2015 in Addis Ababa, where they presented a paper during the African Heads of State. They said, look, these are our demands. We want to be represented in cabinet, we want to be represented in parliament, and we even want to be in the judiciary. So we have seen a lot of young people also into various legal, being magistrate, even judges. Recently in my country, a young guy at the age of 38, 39 was appointed as the Minister of Justice, to lead the whole, justice fraternity of the country. So there are various advocacy, is beginning to pay dividend. Yes, there are some challenges that are there because at times, most of these political, activist, groups lack the resources, to be able to engage on a wider sensitization, or even in terms of advocate, because there are certain policies you need to lobby, and in lobbying it requires the cost for you to be able to do that. So basically, the formation of political activists, is beginning to change the political landscape in Africa.
Yeah. So the issue is a vigilante group for a political party. Are they for political parties, or they are for young people who are concerned about national or political issues? Okay. What's the distinction here?
Okay. So if they are for the political parties, then their objective is not for the youth, but then it's for the political parties. In the sense that if it's for the youth, then whatever the political parties tell them to go do, they know that, okay, this thing that they are going to do, it might not be of benefit to the youth. So then they would not do it. But then if it's for the political parties, if they tell them to go and distract, cause chaos anywhere or anything, that one, they will just go and do it because their loyalty is what they are looking at in terms for the political parties. So with them, they won't care about the objectives or the concerns of the youth. But then if they have the youth concerns with them, they wouldn't be doing that stuff.
All right, so it's good you tune in to AAU TV, African Student Voices. We're talking about securing the youth of Africa against electoral violence. It's getting interesting right here. We'll go for a quick pause. When we come back, we'll talk more about the issues and why these things happen.
But we have heard about you. You've been searching for a new kind of university that matches your ambition. Our world-class education is renowned, but there is more to us. Meet the university in Ghana that is transforming Africa. One that is nurturing a new generation of ethical, entrepreneurial leaders. One that offers scholarships thanks to the Mastercard Foundation, so that you can be part of our community of students who stand for integrity, discipline, and excellence. There is only one such university, only one, where 100% of graduates receive job offers or graduate school admissions. You may not have heard about us, but we have heard about you. You are Africa's future, and we are a Shesi University College. Together, we can begin to create a new Africa.
You're welcome back to African Student Voices on AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa. We're glad you joined us on this show, and we're discussing securing the youth of Africa against electoral violence, one of the things that really destroys our future. And before we went for the pause, we were talking about the distinction between a political vigilante group and a political activist group. You know, we already made the fact that a political activist group is made up of young people who are patriots, who have passion for their development, and therefore contribute actively to policies that could help them develop. However, we don't know for vigilante groups rather than. So let's get a fact straight. So, comrade, political vigilante groups against political activist groups. Is there a connection or there is a disparity?
Well, I think there's a disparity between the two.
Okay.
Because if you look at the history of African independence, they have the called the political arm wing of political parties that were involved in advocacy.
Okay.
We've seen it in Zimbabwe, the ZANU-PF party. They have a political arm wing that comprises of young people who are in fact trained as fighters. We have seen it during the apartheid struggle in South Africa, the ANC. They have there also a political arm group that were involved. And they also have a political activist group.
Okay.
This comprises of people who are educated, well-informed, who are engaged into high-level discussions.
Intellectual ones.
Yes, intellectual discussions of terms of advocacy, you know, for the benefits of the party. But these other ones are a bit disadvantaged. They don't have the education that is required, you know, and they still want to survive. So political parties use those people as a proxy, you know, to perpetrate violence. I see that point. So there is a big disconnect between these two people, you know. That's what we also have seen the trend happening in many countries in Africa. There is an activist group. Those are the people we see in the social media debating with their colleagues from other political parties in terms of policies, trying to project a good image of their political parties. But the political armed group, the vigilantes or whatever it is, you know, you call them the foot soldiers. You don't see them, I see my point, unless if there is violence. The political leaders, you will tell them, well, we are about to be attacked, and they'll prepare their men, you know, to repel any, you know, sort of attack or violence against the political party. So that's a big difference, and their role is really different.
Well, you know, let me put this in, okay. It is not only in Africa we have elections, okay? Yeah. We have elections all over the world. Absolutely. And I want to put the U.S. On the map here. Yeah. The USA has elections. They actually have theirs electronically against our manual elections. Yeah. I've never heard any political vigilante group in the States for Republican or Democrats. Why is there only in Africa? We have a deliberate effort to create a group that will always be ready for combat when it comes to the interests of a political party. Why has it been like that in our context?
Yeah, but if you understand the American history has been measured with violence. Yes, for over 250 years as a country. So if you look at Africa, you know, we are the oldest countries in Africa. Maybe you talk about 63 or 64 from independence, either from the British or from the French or whatever it is. So obviously, we will get there. These are highly,
so we are, you think we are better off in this condition? With these issues?
Not necessarily better off, but if you look at the role of globalization, is shaping the African politics, the African narratives. Because as I said, there are a lot of young people in Africa currently, in fact, following to the US elections in November, and they are seeing what is happening there. So globalization in itself is serving as an educational institution for African young people who are into the social media. They have seen best practices being practiced in the UK, in Germany, in France, where these countries go for elections without even violence, you know, without even killing their people. Yeah. So most of, as I said, the trend is a gradual process. Africa is better off today than where we are in 20 years ago. The civil war in Liberia, the civil war in Sierra Leone, the African country was
in Somalia and Chad.
You know, Liberia, even in Ghana. You know, how many military coup d'etats that have took place in Ghana.
Yes, in Ghana.
So that trend is changing. From 1992, Ghana is believed to have one of the longest democracy in West Africa.
Sure.
Consolidated, strong, where even young people have become active participants in shaping the political, process, for Ghana. So the process is changing, as I said. US for 250 years is a long period, they have taken to be able to develop to where they are today. So for Africa, of course, we are doing our best, with the help of globalization, liberalism, economy, and all those things. It's helping a lot of young people to change the narratives, to say, look, we can be used. There was a video that I was watching in Nigeria where a senator, met a lot of young people sitting in ghettos, was trying to entice them with money to go and perpetrate violence against his opponent. He gave them the money. The young people began to ask, where's your son? He said, my son is studying in Canada. Where's your daughter? My daughter is studying in Harvard. So you want us to take this money and go and kill innocent people, our people? We are not taking it. So these kind of conversations, are going on in Africa, which I think is really, really, really very healthy in changing the democratization process in Africa. The young people are no longer allowed to be used as political proxies to destroy their own countries. Because once you destroy your country, as my lady said, the human life, you can't recover it. A lot of young people died. You can't recover. Currently, we are suffering from a lot of people risking their way to Europe through the Mediterranean Sea. I see the point, which we are confronted. So the young people are beginning to change the narratives. Look, why, for instance, the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo, where is his son? Where is the daughter? Are they not in abroad? Are they not in government? Why should we be allowed to be used? When everything happens, they sit in their comfort zone and we pay the price. The ultimate price becomes us. So this kind of videos, that is the young people are sharing all over. A lot of young people are picking up, and then I can tell you, my country, we went for election in 2016. The whole world thought that we were going into war, and the young people stood on their grounds, because Ghana, who was, he said he was not going to leave, and there was a political impasse. But the young people said, look, we will not be allowed to destroy our own country by a few selfish politicians who want that. So it was, the whole world commended the Gambia for that move, particularly the young people. We've seen it happening recently in Malawi. The young people, refused to take to the street against their fellow opponents. The youth leader of the president who recently lost, the incumbent who lost, said, no, we can't do that. We can't perpetrate violence against our people. These are our fellow Malawians. Why should we go out on the street? And they came. So, you see, we have some issues with political, armed groups and there, but their own existence is not a threat to the young people of Africa, because the narrative is changing.
So let me now take you on this tour and find out what are some of the things that keep enticing young people to participate in the wrong aspect of political activism. So it's not bad to play an active role in politics, all right, but you can get yourself in the wrong place, do the wrong things. But what are some of the indications, the reasons that leads young people to these areas?
Okay. One major reason is the unemployment I mentioned before. We have poverty and all that. And with the unemployment, they said the devil always finds work to do for the idle hands. So in that case, if you are employed and you have your job to think about, your work and all that stuff, you wouldn't have time to fall prey to anybody who comes to give you money or anything for you to go and cause commotion anywhere. And also with education in the sense that people should be educated on values. They having values, like with the advocacy, you educating the youth on the effects of violence and how it's going to affect you in the near future, because you have today and tomorrow to think about. But then if you are not being educated, you don't have that kind of mind, and you feel like, okay, it's all about today, what do I have to lose? But then the politicians we have now, they are fighting for our future, right? So then if they are fighting for a future and you are not able to enjoy that future based on some violence you did, or maybe you lost your life, or you ended up in the prison or anything, then how do you enjoy it? So what then are you fighting for? But in this case, if we educate them, they will know that, okay, this thing that I'm going to do, at the end of the day, it's of no use. It's just going to be of distraction and all that. So I think education, they should educate them, and also there should be more jobs, not just of employment, but also innovative stuff. We have, not everybody can be educated and have jobs, but then if there's innovation, entrepreneurship, it's very important, because if you have something doing yourself, not necessarily working for somebody. We have construction work, we have sewing, tailoring, all those aspects. So if you are unemployed and that, you would have time to do whatever. But then if you are employed, you have something doing for yourself, I think you won't have time to go and do anything violent. So.
Sure. Comrade, this is coming from the political angle. Do you think that politicians, because of these reasons, for their interest to have their own way in politics or in elections, would deliberately recruit these people with these backgrounds? Because they will recruit bankers. They can't recruit university graduates who have their degree and have something to pursue for their lives. They will definitely go for hooligans who perhaps do not have anything to do with their lives. They do not they don't see any positivity in themselves, but to enjoy themselves or condemn themselves in negativity. Perhaps to be engaged in this political vigilantism and then cause this kind of chaos. Do you think that these kind of activities are deliberate from political parties to create this for their interest?
Well, it's a deliberate action, because they do it at their own, selfish interests, how to consolidate power, So, you see, politicians in Africa, not all of them, a lot of them tend to be very selfish, about what is my future as a politician, not the future of my country. Okay. So this has created with a lot of instability in Africa, as was said, because if you recruit a particular, political vigilantism, people who are not educated, you give them money, you entice them with money, give them facilities like cars and all those things, and those, other people also, tend to see this as a scale for corruption activities or whatever it is. Then the agitation will start to grow. So politicians deliberately, establish these, groups just for their own interests. It's not for the interest of the country, because if it is for the interest of the country, why would you recruit an armed group when you have the police, when you have the army, you have various, securities apparatus trained, established by law, statutory law, to be the custodians of the security of our various countries? Why would you have a political armed group, which is not constitutional? It's not legally binding. Why? The police in our country, they are very effective. They are provided resources with the consolidated fund. The army is here. The immigration is here. The prison service are there. Like, for instance, Ghana, the BNI, is it BNI?
Yes.
They are also here.
Yeah.
These are all trained, established institutions, security apparatus that are there to protect security. Why would a political party recruit people outside to protect them security? That tells you that they are not up to good for any country. If they do that, they are there for their own interests. They are not.
So let's wrap up with a message from each one of you to the young one out there. Why should they secure themselves against electoral violence? So Hamida, to just in one statement, just say something to somebody out there. That's your camera. Just talk to somebody out there why they should secure themselves in their future from electoral violence.
Well, in recent time, the politicians that we have here, they are, my brother said, they are, some of them actually, they are for their own selfish gain. So I just want to tell the youth out there that no matter what, they might tell you that they are fighting for your future, but then if it's for your future and you don't have a say or you are not there to enjoy it, then how is it your future? So please, let's train ourselves to have values, to think about ourselves when people like these politicians come around to tell us to do stuff. For instance, they will have their children at home or abroad, and they would like us to use us actually to do stuff. So please, I would like to say that you should stay away from such people, and that anything you know, we should know the good from the bad. Anything bad is bad. There is no justification to that. So anything you do, just make sure that you put your values first and all that, and stay away from all these vigilante groups and the bad people. Thank you.
Great. Ben, do you add yours to it?
Thank you so much. I think we, the young people, we are the future of today and we are the future of tomorrow. Why would we be allowed to be used by people who only think of today? So the message is clear. Our countries can only be developed by we, the young people, and not the elderly people that have or maybe 5 or 10 years to live, and they are gone. You know, so we should not be allowed in any way, you know, to be used as political praxis for political parties, leaders who have no interest for the young people, you know, rather for the interest of themselves and a few selected people. Yeah. So we should be much more, you know, aware and then take part in the national discourse that promotes peace, you know, that promotes equality, that promotes, you know, transparency and accountability. Once we are able to seek out this as young people, then the future of Africa and the future of young people will be, you know, will be booming in the economy. They call it a boom. So the future of the young people will be a boom, as in the point. So these are very important that the young people we need to advocate and we need to engage in.
Sure.
And, thank you.
Sure. So this is where time can afford us on African Student Voices, and I must say that it has been a good discussion. You know, the saying that goes that a good discussion never ends. It's something that we always reflect and that we keep on and on. Thanks very much, Hamida too, and Asuman Obujan, for your time and for the commitment for youth development. And also for you out there who watch the show today, I believe you are going to say yes, put it on the page, bring it out to our WhatsApp number on the screen, and also to our Facebook page and YouTube. Let us hear from you. What do you have to say about it? Your future matters a lot. And as Africa, we can unite. And with a sort of objectivity, we can rule this, we can take this continent to a different level. If you and I together would stay away from electoral violence and any kind of violence, and we can live an objective, valuable life, we will be there. Thank you very much for your time, and hope to come your way with another enlightening and interactive discussion on African Student Voices on AU TV. Have a nice day, and bye.